I got a special request from Mizmor Shir. Do we really stick that in or not today?
As in the klepper? Mizmor Shir Shabbat. Really?
Yeah.
Who requested that? Murph. Laura. Oh, it's one of the Rubenstein girls. Yeah. All right, if you want it, go ahead, do it. You can stick it,
After
no, either before Lecha or before Zamru. But I want Lecha to be right before Baruch because we're standing.
Okay. It might be flipping back.
Yeah, it happens.
Okay. Flip back a page to flip.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's the plan. Like you said this morning, we accommodate special requests.
I know, but can you believe we pulled off the Torah service?
That was well done.
Like, what was I going to bring a Torah up here? That's what I did down there, but got a little heavy.
As they do.
All of a sudden I was like, oh my God, this is getting a little too heavy for me.
You need a штender that has wheels. You can roll down.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a great idea. All right. 7:30. You ready to start? Because we are. Welcome. Glad to have you. Really glad to have this one with me. Noah, Simon. He was here this morning with me also for Shavuot morning service. And here again. And he's like putting in the hours. They're going to they're going to say to him when he applies to some sort of rabbinical or cantorial school, I'm not saying he's going to, but were he to, they'll say, it's like for your driver's test, did you do, 60 hours behind the wheel before you can get your license? They're going to ask if you did 60 hours in the pulpit.
Far more than that.
No, you got that from Brandeis.
Plenty of time for Brandeis.
That's right. All right.
I was in DC yesterday planning high holy day services already.
Oh my God. Yadid Nefesh is how we start. Page 128. Lighting of the Shabbat candles. That can be found on page 120 in your Siddur, 120. Fresh candles, you can tell. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratza banu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron le'maaseh bereishit ki hu yom tehillah le'mikra'e kodesh zecher yetziat mitzrayim. Tivanu v'chata v'yotanu kitashta likol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha v'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat l'chaim. All right. Page 134. This is Zamru.
Zamru
Adonai bechino bechino bechozimra.
Zamru
Adonai bechino bechino bechozimra.
Zamru Adonai bechino
bechino bechozimra.
Zamru Adonai bechino
bechino bechozimra.
Zamru
Adonai bechino bechino bechozimra.
Zamru
Adonai bechino bechino bechozimra.
Zamru Adonai bechino
bechino bechozimra.
Zamru Adonai bechino
bechino bechozimra. So the Noah Simon fan club, I won't say exactly who it is, but he has a fan club and they made a special request to do a song. So it's not on our cue sheet or on our program, but rather it's just part of Kabbalah Shabbat still. Mizmor Shir, you can find it on page 140.
Mizmor Shir B'Yom HaShabbat Tov Le'Oto Adonai Mezamer L'Shimcha Elyon Mezamer L'Shimcha Elyon Mizmor Shir B'Yom HaShabbat Le'Oto Adonai Mezamer L'Shimcha Elyon Mezamer L'Shimcha
All right, so back a page, 138, Lecha Dodi. We'll be doing verse 1, 2, 5, and 9. And when we reach the 9th verse, I'll invite you to rise and face the entrance to the sanctuary.
Shabbat
continue with the Baruch Hu, page 146. Together, praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way in which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Page 152, Shema.
Shema
Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Please be seated. Next page, 154. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת להם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם המזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot. That wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt. That there is a better place, a promised land. That the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. That there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. Micha Mocha, 158. beautiful prayer for just helping us just be at peace, especially in the evening, right before we go to sleep. It puts our souls at peace. It's called Hashki Venu, page 160.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu shomreinu Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu shomreinu Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu shomreinu Ushmor Seitenu Uvoenu Lechaim Ushalom Ve'ata Ve'Adonai. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim.
Page 165, a quick reading before we continue with the tefillah. Keep going. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. The tefillah, page 164, starts with Adonai Sefatai Tiftach and then continues 166, 168, and 170. Please rise.
Nai 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 Ya 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 nai 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 Adonai Sefatai Tiftach V'yagi Tehilatecha Adonai Sefatai Tiftach V'yagi Tehilatecha Ya la 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 Ya la 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 la
166. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov
Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor HaNorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei HaKol, Vezocher Chasei Avot Ve'imahot, Umevii Gula Livnei Bneihem, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה.
168.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה כל אתה רב ומושיע, מוריד אתה. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני אחי, מי כמוך בגבורות, ומדום מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצליח ישועה, ונאמן אתה החיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל.
170.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום ירדו הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Shalom Rav, our evening prayer for peace, 178.
Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech Adon, bechol hashalom. לכל השלום, שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. לטוב בעיניך ולרב את עמך ישראל. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Baruch atah Adonai hamevarech et amo Yisrael.
Hashem.
So, one of the things we love, or I love to do here on Shabbat, is share a little bit of the joys that are in our lives. And you know how we do it. I will call on you. You just have to raise your hand. I'll call on you, and then tell us a little bit about your joy. Because our goal here, as we've always said, and as we know, is to create a sense of community. And if we don't know anything about each other, especially the things that bring us joy, and also the things that bring us pain, but joy too, then what kind of a community are we? So please, if you have a little joy you'd like to share it, tell us all about it. Go ahead, Paul, you go first.
At the end of this month, I have a birthday and I'll turn 95.
95. Wow. You remember when you were 15?
I have to look it up.
That's amazing. So wait, when's your birthday?
The 31st.
Of May. Amazing. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yes, Karen. Labor Day weekend, you're moving to Arnold. Wow. That happened recently, I presume, that decision?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Golf
Awesome.
course.
Welcome to the neighborhood.
From where? From where?
The Bay Hills Apartments.
From where?
Oh, where I'm moving from?
Yes.
Annapolis.
From Annapolis.
Can Karen's moving to Arnold. I presume it's because you heard the schools are better around here.
No.
And you're like, oh, got to get to a good school district. Just check. Yes, Steve.
I had the pleasure this week of traveling with my sister in Charleston to visit our brother and his extended family.
Wow.
There were 3 out of 4 siblings and 2 other generations. So my brother's daughter and her whole family was 3 kids.
Wow. That's it's beautiful.
Given the last year to get together with a family like that.
I'll say. Joy of being with all those generations and with all the family members in Charleston. Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Yes, Laura.
I'm driving again.
You're driving.
I'll come back
Just
home.
driving that thing or driving that?
This is my trusty steed, number 2. No, I'm driving. Yay.
Golf course. You're talking about a car. Mazel tov. That is like the first huge step.
Yeah. It's really got me back my independence a lot.
I'll say. Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Yes.
My hair is starting to grow back after months of chemo. Yay!
Why? Let me ask this question. What's the secret? Because I am not even, didn't have to go through chemo, and I'm not able to grow it back, and then you, all right, massaging it from time to time?
Yeah.
Having your beautiful hair back again, Mary, I'm so delighted. Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Audrey, you go first. Less than a month of your junior year in high school left. That's amazing. I'm really happy for you. Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear?
I finished my freshman year at Brandeis and was able to come home. And Audrey loves having her big sister back home.
I just have one question about this. You said, and I was able to come back home. Was there something that may have kept you from being able to come back home?
No. She didn't want me to come back home.
So being back from school and having your sister who had come to kind of appreciate the house to herself, the bathroom without sharing.
She loves having me home.
We're glad to have you back, Lily. Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Noah and Lily are in school together.
joy to Cavell, and we are just so overjoyed that Noah, not only is he so involved with Hillel and so many other organizations there at Brandeis, but this semester he brought home a 4.0.
Wow. 4.0, huh? That was my total grade point. Added all 4 years. Well, maybe a little better than that, but still, that's amazing. Congratulations.
I got to spend the week at Foundation for Jewish Camp's Cornerstone Retreat, which was really, really lovely. It was an opportunity to learn how to be a better camp leader at my camp community. There were 300 people there from all sorts of different camps, URJ camps, Vermont camps, all sorts of other independent camps. And it was really the most well put together event I've been to, certainly since COVID, probably since before that. And I really just had such a joyful time. I learned so much, got to meet up with so many people. It was a really, really lovely time.
So last weekend I was invited to this event in the DC Ward. It was called the Blessing of the Fleet. It was to wish a safe boating season for the start of the season. And there were a lot of pastors there. They're all reciting passages from the Bible. And I thought, I got to bring in some Hebrew prayer, some Jewishness to this event. So I got up, gave my remarks on behalf of the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, and I said the Shehekiyanim.
Nice!
Integrated some
Nice!
prayer into the day. I think everyone was really thrown off guard. Too many pastors there had to bring in some Jewishness.
I like it. Last Saturday, or actually Sunday, my niece became a bat mitzvah in New York. We went up there to visit, saw the whole family up there, with the exception of my daughter, Sela, who just came back from Israel a couple days ago, so she missed the bat mitzvah. But that's it. Happens.
Awesome.
Life gets in the way, right? But still, to see my niece who's, not even quite 13 yet, and she's absolutely off the charts great. I mean, she's chanting all this stuff, she's, because it's conservative, right? So, she's showing me up. That's right, but she is great.
What a success.
So great, and just to see my sister and my brother-in-law and my other niece up there is really great to be together, even just for a day. Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Baruch atah Adonai b'nei chasadim tovim. We praise you, Adonai, our God, for partnering with us in many elements of joy that are in our lives.
Amen.
Along with the joy, of course, is a recognition that loved ones of ours are in need of healing. There are a number of people from our congregation who could use a blessing for healing, and I'm sure many more. And so what I'd like to do at this time is begin the blessing of Misha Berach, and then pause, as you probably have become accustomed to me doing, and then you'll have an opportunity to share a person's name if you wish. Halfway through the blessing. Misha Berach Avotenu, Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, Rachel. Please may the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, and Rachel. Bless and may God heal all of our loved ones who are in need of healing, especially the ones whom we name at this time. If you'd like to say a name, just give me a nod, and I'll know that.
Brian May.
David Huffman.
Claudia Gold.
Seattle.
Lori, Eleanor, Mary Kelly, Christina Bakers.
Morris Bell and Cameron Maxwell.
Lou Berman. Yeah. Only men, but still needs them. Yeah. I'm going to add also Eric Harris, Lauren McDaniel, Mika Rome, Melech Eliezer Ben Yosef, Beth Smith, Shlomo Mangan, and Shlomo David Ben Nachama, along with Regina Weiss. Yishlach lehem b'mheira refuah shalema. May God send them speedily a complete recovery. Refuah hanefesh, refuah haguf, the healing of body and healing of spirit. B'toch sha'ar olei Yisrael, amongst all who are in need of healing. V'namar amen. Let us say amen. 371.
Bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us empower.
For a moment of silence.
Shalom Kimrolam, Uyase Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'imenu Amen. Say Shalom Kimrolam, Uyase Shalom Aleinu, Kol Yisrael, Yas v'shalom, שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עושה שלום במקומם, ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
So, our Jewish calendar is a strange thing, right? It's like, you know, we go by the lunar calendar, right? So that's why sometimes our holidays are early and late. You know, you ever wonder, like, oh my God, Rosh Hashanah, it's so early this year, it's so late this year. It's all because we have a lunar calendar, and the lunar calendar is 29 days, 29 and a half days every month. And, you know, there's 12 months rather, and what ends up happening is that, you know, it doesn't jive with the solar calendar. And what ends up happening is that so it gets pushed, you know, for 13, 14 days earlier every year. But the thing about it is that, you know, and so as a way of dealing with our calendar, we add what's called a leap month it's not exactly every 3 years, but it's about every 3 years. And we add a leap month, and what happens is by adding a leap month, we keep our lunar calendar in sync with the solar calendar. And as a result, that means, you know, our holidays happen in the seasons that we want them to happen. Sukkot and Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur always happen in the fall, Pesach always in the spring, Shavuot in the spring. Additionally, our tradition was a little kind of, let's call it schizophrenic with respect to understanding what was first and what was last and middle and whatever, because you would think that Rosh Hashanah, which is, you know, the new year, would be the first month of the year. In fact, it's not. It's the 7th month of the year, and that's because Passover was officially the first month of the year. But still, you know, today we celebrated a holiday called Shavuot. It's the least known holiday on the Jewish calendar because there's nothing that we do for it that's kind of unique other than dairy. But you can have dairy any holiday. It doesn't like stop you from having dairy the other holidays, but that's like the only thing about this. So as opposed to you know, holidays in which you're going in a sukkah and waving, you know, pieces of asparagus around and smelling lemons, or when that other one in which you're eating this flat, you know, crackers, you know, and having seders and drinking 4 cups of wine, which are all very memorable experiences. Shavuot, it's like, oh, you had blintzes? Great. It's like, that's not memorable, at least not enough. And so Shavuot's kind of forgotten about. But there's another reason why Shavuot's kind of forgotten about. And the reason why is because it's the one holiday in the Torah that doesn't have a date. Right? So, Rosh Hashanah, for example, on the first day of the 7th month, it shall be a day of the blasts of the shofar. Okay. Yom Teruah, a day of shofar blowing. And then it goes on to say, and on the 10th day of that 7th month, Yom Kippur, it's a day of atonement. Right? Great. And then on the 15th day of that month, it says in the Torah, you know, you should dwell in booths. It's Sukkot. And by the way, you should also know that the reason why Sukkot's on the 15th of the month, and Pesach's on the 15th of the month, is because you know what happens on the 15th of every lunar month? You get a nice, big, huge moon. And so it's easy to identify that date. Right, so back to what I was saying. On the 15th day of that 7th month, you're dwelling in booths for Sukkot. And then it goes on to say the next holiday is on the 15th day of the 1st month. It's a day of matzah. You eat unleavened bread as a memory and a recognition of being slaves in Egypt. Okay. And then Shavuot. It doesn't say on the whatever day of the 9th month. And the reason why it doesn't say is because the way that you know when Shavuot is, it's in relationship to Pesach. It says, count 7 weeks from the day the sickle, is the first day of the sickle, of the plowing. And that means, because you can't do any of that work on the first day of Pesach, you can do it on the 2nd day. So you count 7 weeks from the 2nd day of Pesach. Sheva Shavuot, 7 weeks. Shavuot means weeks. And that's how you get to Shavuot. In fact, we even have a tradition called counting the Omer. Maybe you've heard of it, the Omer period, which is every single day between the 2nd day of Pesach and Shavuot. So why is it that every other holiday in our tradition has a date, and yet Shavuot doesn't, except for the fact that the date is in relationship to Pesach? And I believe the reason is because Pesach is, yes, a festival of matzah, but it is also a festival of freedom, of liberation. And Shavuot is the festival, according to our Jewish tradition, of Torah, receiving the Torah on Mount Sinai. And so our sages believed, or even the authors of the Torah itself believed, that you can't have freedom without also having Torah. It's like with freedom comes responsibility. Torah. Right? One goes with the other. And why did I call this the Shavuot imperative? And the reason why is because we, as Reformed Jews, celebrate our freedom. Obviously, everybody, Americans celebrate freedom. I'm talking about our freedom of Judaism, right? We celebrate the fact that, we do some things, we don't do other things, we make decisions about what we do. Sometimes we come, to services, sometimes we don't, sometimes we do Shabbat, sometimes we don't. Do we fast on Yom Kippur? Some yes, some no. Do we eat, food that is kosher for Pesach during Passover? Some yes, some no. There's every possible thing under the sun I could come up with an example of. But we as Reformed Jews, we recognize that we have choices. We can do if we want to, because we don't believe that if we eat a bacon cheeseburger on Yom Kippur, we don't think that God is striking us down. Or maybe you do. I don't think God's striking you down if you eat that on Yom Kippur. I don't think that the choices you make have ultimately any implication as to how it's going to go for you. I don't believe you are being judged more or less and written about with pen or pencil instead of pen in the book of life. I don't believe any of that. What I do believe is we have choices. And the question is, will our answers to those choices, will the decisions we make to those choices always be, I don't need to do that, I'm Reformed? Or will we make decisions with Torah in mind? Will we make decisions that say, these are the things I'm gonna do, as opposed to all the things that I don't do? Minus this is the stuff that I do, it's like freedom is almost irrelevant. Because what are you free? You're not shackled by anything in the first place. So celebrating freedom means nothing. You have to have some sort of standard by which your own standard, not my standard, your own, that says, you know what? This is what makes me a Jew, by doing this. And then that's the Torah for you. That comes with the freedom. That comes with the Pesach. That's the Shavuot, which is linked to the Pesach. And I think we all know this, right? I think we know this. I think there are times in your life when you ignore Judaism. And again, I'm not judging you. But I think that there are plenty of times when you ignore it. And I think that and what happens to you at that moment, I'll tell you. You don't say to yourself, oh, I'm a terrible Jew. You say, I can do this if I don't have to worry. It's so what? It was Hanukkah, I missed lighting a candle. It doesn't make a difference. And you're right, except what does gnaw at you a little bit is you say to yourself, all right, but if I'm not doing this and I'm not doing anything, what am I doing? And that's the Shavuot imperative. It's the reminder to us that it's okay to talk about all the things that you don't do because they don't bring meaning to your Judaism. And it's fine. At least for me it is. But you have to, for yourself, be able to say, but these are the things that do make me a Jew. Because if you don't have that, then you don't have anything. So that's the Shavuot imperative. That's why Shavuot is linked with Pesach and not on its own. Because it's a reminder to us that freedom is critical for us, but only if it comes with a measured dose of responsibility too, for Torah. So, thank you for listening. And we're going to continue on page 586 in our Sidurs with Aleinu, and I'd like to invite you to please rise. Very much. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני מלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד Ushemo echad. Please be seated. So this is a moment of sacred memory. Loved ones of ours are no longer with us, and we remember them. This is so often one of the things that makes the synagogue so important is that it's a tangible place for memory. It's a tangible place for us to remember those loved ones of ours who aren't with us but who still inspire us. And so allow me to share some names. First, 5 names of loved ones who have passed away quite recently. And we are still within the period of Shloshim, the 30 days of intensive mourning. Remember lovingly Howard Gersh, father of Stephen Gersh, Joel Barries, husband of Cheryl Barries, Teresa Weinschenk, great aunt of Mara Hedgecoth, Louisa Severn, a cousin of Glenn Hedgecoth, and Ann Stinson, grandmother of Hannah Goldstein. We also remember at this time these loved ones whose yahrzeits occur on this Shabbat. It means it's the anniversary of their passing. And we remember lovingly Alan Robert Brous, along with Edith Zwick, Howard Lee Eisenstein, Cecil Cooper, Morris Epstein, Elizabeth Doucette, Gerald Lebedeff, Bruce Conrad Cook, Sidney Wash, Gloria Grossman, Max Harrison, Carl Lindenauer, and Charles Stern. And so, in gratitude for their lives and linking their names with the rest of our loved ones who have passed away, we remember them now with the words of our mourner's prayer, which is called a Kaddish. It can be found on page 598. And if it's your custom, please rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, b'yalma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'chayei dechal beit Yisrael, v'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevorach li'alam u'lamei al-maya, yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei, yitadar v'yitalei v'yitalal, shemei dekudsha m'richu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, damiram bi'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, chayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imrumav, uyaseh shalom aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort to every bereaved heart. Amen.
Amen.
Please be seated. Okay. Thank you so much to all of you for being here. Thank you so much to this young man, Noah Simon, for joining me on Bema. You are so talented, so impressive. You know, you don't even know I was here this morning with Noah for the Shavuot morning service. He had half the songs memorized, not just the guitar, but the words too. There was one psalm in Hebrew, which he was like, he wasn't looking at the words. He kind of got a little crossed up. He needed to look at my book, right? You know all the words and the chords to everything. It's really impressive. I mean, really impressive. So this one, he deserves a real, you're something else. So thank you. Also, thank you to Jill, your mom, for ushering, and thank you to Betty and Don Morgenstern, along with Evelyn Rubel, Tom and Barbara Weeder for sponsoring the Oneg Shabbat. Couple of announcements. For example, Temple office is closed on Monday in observance of Memorial Day. The Men's Club weekly lunch at the Double T Diner is still happening, noon on Tuesday. And the Men's Club golf tournament and fundraiser, I'm still looking for one of the balls that I lost. That is on June 16th at the Bay Hills Country Club. Let's see, just want to point out that June 3rd is the Annapolis Pride Parade and Festival. And that's a really meaningful thing that happens in Annapolis, and we as a congregation participate in it. And if you would like to participate, you are welcome to by being in touch with Jessica Farrar. Her email, jessicafarrar@verizon.net. Finally, June 4th, Sunday, 1 to 6, is now really only a few of you in here qualify for this. But that doesn't mean you don't know people who qualify also. So the young adult, which means 20s and 30s group, will be meeting on June 4th for Wine on the Waterfront Festival at Canton Waterfront Park in Baltimore. Seems like a lot of fun. See the weekly email for more information. Okay. Motzi first, then we conclude with Shalom Aleichem, which is on page 627. But first, Motzi. All right, here. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. All right, 627. Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharim, Malachei Elyonim, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharim, Malachei Elyonim, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Malachei Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyonim, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyonim, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyonim, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zichem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei
Shabbat Shalom.
Glad to have everyone here. Shabbat Shalom. I'm going to serenade our. I'm going to serenade our streamers. Got a little left in me.
Yeah. What do you play?
A little Shlomo Karloff. Keep on my way. Yalla.